and Australia. Bonne chance aux deux équipes et bon match. Best of luck.
One more left on what's been an interesting playoff Saturday, none more so than the showdown of the two 6-0 teams, as Canada scores 5 in the top of the 6th to beat Triple Crown Colorado in a battle of unbeatens to advance to tomorrow's title game. And now at Softball City, with 4 teams still left in the hunt for the Canada Cup crown, Mexico and Australia. As this tournament in so many ways has had some interesting twists and turns, some upsets along the way. But the teams expected to be in the spots they're in are. It's Australia against Team Mexico. Mexico 4-1 in the round robin. They lost their 1-2 playoff game last night to Triple Crown Colorado and then bounced back with a 10-0 triumph over Israel earlier today. Team Australia will send 24-year-old Kendra Lamb. There's the defense that she'll work with. Sitsa Cronus behind the plate. Wall, Shannon Keevers in the outfield. We haven't seen a lot of her. And the umpiring group that will work the game, Gallagher, Chrissy Travers, Mikhail Garcia for Cuba. and Wojtek Mikowski from Czechia. Kendra Lamb is 24 years of age. She has pitched collegiately at Southern Alabama for the Jaguars. And of all the pitchers I have watched this week that I've had some opportunity to watch in the past, it's okay. Those treats are good. No need to be embarrassed. But in Kendra Lamb, the 24-year-old to me has made massive strides since I watched a couple of years ago at the Canada Cup. She gets the call in this must-win game for both teams. As Triple Crown Colorado will take on the winner of this game tomorrow at 1 o'clock for then the right to play Canada for the Canada Cup title in 2024. And center fielder to lead it off, Madeline Bejarano. 2 for 4 with a double and a run batted in earlier today in the victory over Israel. She is from Cottonwood, Arizona, and squares to bunt and takes strike one from the home plate umpire. Mexico features a lot of speed throughout their lineup. Bejarano and Behringer in particular at the top of the order, and then Janelle Miano in the number 9 spot. As Lamb goes upstairs with a rise ball, and Bejarano now is an impressive 9 for 21 with 3 doubles, 8 runs batted in. And this, like the last one, has a chance to be an excellent game. As Lamb misses away. Be interesting to see what her top speed is on the gun before the night is over. Bejarano, a quality college season at Brigham Young University. Up and in to Bejarano. And the gun only showing about 61 right now, which seems a little on the low side for Kendra Lamb. But our radar gun, not directly behind home plate. Our original version, at least Luciano's Softball Premier TV, was smashed by a foul ball earlier in the week. And Kendra Lamb goes upstairs for her first strikeout of the night. Kendra, I think she might be the next one to build around. She's pitched 7 1/3, given up no runs, 3 hits, struck out now 11, and walked 2. She would still be probably considered number 3 on the staff, but working her way up. Not at Southern Alabama, pardon me, my apologies. Pitched at the University of Louisiana. She was a raging Cajun for the last 4 years. Quality changeup from Lamb. 39 10 during her college career there. And in her second Canada Cup, she pitched here in 2022. Was 2-0 at last summer's World Cup qualifier in Ireland. And a very difficult field that featured the United States and a Great Britain team that is no slouch. And they were able to find their way into the World Cup by finishing second, in behind, of course, the United States. And Lamb misses to Blaze Behringer down. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Blaze Behringer from Nogales, Arizona, and played at the University of Arizona this season. where she batted .267. She can fly. Was 1 for 5 in the game earlier today against Israel. And drives it the other way, but foul. She helped Arizona to a super regional, a best-of-3 series that you are required to win to make it to the 8-team College Women's World Series, but they were knocked off in that round by Oklahoma State. 2-2 to Behringer. And a second strikeout of the game for Kendra Lamb. Well, Jillian Solis, who was a hitting star here last year when she went 12 for 20 for Team Mexico, this is a retooled, much better Mexico team than the one that went 3-6 in the tournament 1 year ago. And she had a mighty cut at that. She's started to really find her stroke. 2 for 4 today, a double and a run batted in. Now up to 8 for 20 with 4 runs batted in is the Corona, California product, who played at the University of Washington this season. And she's playing professionally for the Florida Vibe when she's not playing for Mexico. Played in the Pan Am Games for them. Went 5 for 16 in Santiago, Chile in the fall. The 0-2 from Lamb. And Solis, you could tell by the look on her face, knows that she just missed it. Jillian was a 313 average batter at the University of Washington. For longtime storied coach Heather Tarr, who's also the skipper of the U.S. national women's team, preparing right now overseas for the World Cup. Australia and Canada headed to Italy when this tournament is over. They'll fly out on Monday. Not sure if they're on the same flight or not. My guess is probably not. But they might be. Their head coach is originally from Canada in Lang Harrow. So Solis in a good at-bat against Kendra Lamb in the top half of the first inning. And Lamb wanted to drop down and in. Two and two to the Mexico shortstop, Jillian Solis. Change up. Didn't quite make it to home plate. Have to be careful with this hitter, especially when she's in a groove. And she has back-to-back multi-hit games. Last night against Triple Crown, Colorado, and then this afternoon in the huge win over Israel. But Kendra Lamb gets the best of Jillian Solis. Phase 3, struck them all out. Great beginning for Kendra and Australia. They'll come to bat in the bottom of the first. Mexico sends University of Texas pitcher Citlali She was the starter last night as well in the 1-2 playoff game versus Triple Crown Colorado. She's from Stamford, Texas. Was 11-2 for the Longhorns. 93 innings. Made quite a combination with Triple Crown Colorado pitcher Tegan Cavan and a couple of others for Michael White at Texas, a team that lost Oklahoma 2-0 in the best of 3 College Women's World Series Championship final. Michelle Cox, for a second straight game, remains in the leadoff spot. She's playing in left field. Facing Gutierrez, who delivers a first pitch strike. Cox 1 for 2 in the romp over Team Philippines. 11-0 was the score in that game. Lasted 4 innings. Australia scored 10 of the 11 in the second to put that game away early. So we're down to the final 4. And who we really expected to be in the final 4 when the 12-team field was announced. Czechia, because of pitcher Veronika Pekova, maybe with a chance to get to the inside of that group had things fallen for them, but they delivered a very difficult 4-3 loss yesterday in a playoff game when they blew a 3-0 7-inning lead to the Philippines. Gutierrez finds the outside corner on Michelle Cox, who's 33 years of age. So she's been a veteran of this team for quite some time. Made her debut all the way back in the year 2009. And delivers a base hit to the gap. Cox looks at Langhero, who gives her the stop sign. A nice beginning for Australia. Michelle Cox has a double. It's her second double of the Canada Cup. She was an Australian Olympian in the summer of 2021. And exactly what Australia was looking for to open the bottom of the first inning. The batter is Shannon Keevers. Keevers has not seen a lot of duty so far in this tournament. I wonder if she has been banged up a little bit. She only has 2 at-bats, and that was in their first game against Team Greece. Lays down a bunt. Behringer in time. Almost slipped, but recovered and has a strong throwing arm as Keevers returns and lays down a sacrifice bunt to move Cox into scoring position over at third base. And now Jenna Trim to Gutierrez, who checks. And Trim on one pitch is retired. Jenna had a bases clearing triple in the win earlier today over the Philippines. Silali Gutierrez looking to battle her way out of early trouble after the double by Michelle Cox. And now, yes, she's 30, not 31, as I mentioned, I think, in error a couple of times. At least that was relayed to me in the last couple of days and threw her for a bit of a loop. Taylor, I apologize. Turned 30 this week on July the 3rd. Happy 30th birthday to the quality veteran member of the team and tonight's starting catcher, Taylor Tsitsikronis. Have enjoyed her work for quite some time internationally. 2 for 15. Did not play much of a role this afternoon, but she does tonight. Just off the outstretched glove of Alicia Campbell, and a run batted in for the 30-year-old Taylor Tsitsikronis, another Australian Olympian. And she has her second run batted in of the Canada Cup to give Australia a 1-0 early lead. Went the other way. The hopper off the glove of Campbell. And now center fielder Jade Wall. Berenger stays with it. Australia makes the most of 2 hits and leads after 1 in this must-win game to keep their Canada Cup hopes alive. Australia with a couple of hits, including an RBI single off the bat of Kedar Taylor Tsitsikronis, has taken a 1-0 lead over Mexico. Australia on their way to the World Cup when this tournament comes to a conclusion tomorrow, and they'd like to make their way to the final. The winner of this game goes up against Triple Crown Colorado, who suffered their first loss at the hands of Team Canada. A dramatic 6th-inning grand slam as Canada rebounded from 3-1 down to win 6-3. So it will be an exciting night tomorrow as Team Canada returns for the first time in a number of years to the Canada Cup final. Here is Alyssa Garcia, the designated player. Kendra Lamb with 3 consecutive strikeouts to open her game in the circle. Garcia from Chula Vista, California, played at San Diego State, was 0 for 3 this afternoon in the win over Israel. She's 6 for 15 in the tournament. And Lamb finds the strike zone. A ball and a strike to San Diego State's Alyssa Garcia, who batted .312 there to close out her college career. She spent the 4 previous years at UCLA. Her best hitting season was there in 2022 when she hit .333, and Team Mexico happy to have her, along with the likes of Bejarano, Berenger, Watley, and Miono. All big adds. Mexico much improved as a result, and see if those players continue to wear the Mexico uniform moving forward internationally. I would guess their federation hopes so. 2-2 to Garcia. Has 1 big fly in the game and in the tournament, not in the game. She homered against Israel earlier in the tournament, not today, but in their round robin meeting. So a change up from Lamb misses. And head coach Lang Harrow gives a lot of credit to one of the great men pitchers that we've seen in Andrew Kirkpatrick, a world champion on a couple of occasions. The pitching coach for some of the development of Kendra Lamb. 4 batters, 4 strikeouts. As she has come out with a purpose and good execution. As she faces left fielder Lina Rebaedo. Rebaedo has swung a hot bat as this tournament has moved on. She had a good afternoon. Went 2 for 4 with an RBI in the 10-0 win over Israel. 7 for 17 now is Rebaedo in the tournament. It was her second multi-hit game of the Canada Cup this afternoon. Facing a strike as Lamb comes down and in with a change and misses. Ball and a strike to Lina Rebaedo from Riverside, California, who played her college softball at Utah Valley. It ended there as a senior in 2022. She was a participant here last year as well. Hit 5 for 19 with a home run and 4 runs batted in. Her home run actually came in a playoff game against Canada on July the 15th. Mexico ended up with a 3-6 record last year when it was all said and done. The 2-1 pitch from Lamb, fouled straight back. And the count is even. Kendra, the tall right-hander, just coming into her own at this level. The World Cup really important. So is developing your program towards the 2028 Summer Olympic Games. Five up, 5 down, and that pitch was perfect. Unhittable. I wonder when the last time Kendra Lamb started a game against a quality opponent and struck out 5 in a row. Not even I have the answer to that question. She's on a roll early in this game. This is a good hitting Mexico roster. Not to the same caliber as Canada or Triple Crown Colorado. But I don't see a lot of difference in the hitting. Maybe a slight advantage for Australia, but I wouldn't say a huge advantage up and down the lineup. Australia, though, with more experience in world-class type competition. So that always gives you an edge in games like this. She falls behind Savannah Watley from Oakley, California, who's had a very fine Canada Cup, her first. She has 9 hits. 2 more today with a double and an RBI. She's 9 for 19. And wasn't necessarily in the starting lineup early, but she has taken over at second from Marlena Espinoza. And she's not given the job back. Not the way she's swinging it. 2-1 to Watley. In the game earlier today, it ended up versus Israel 10-0, but it was 0-0 through 3. Watley came up in the 4th, dropped down a bunt. The Israel catcher and an all-star catcher here, Kat Montoya, ended up throwing the ball wide of first. The runner scored all the way from first, and then the route was on. So that was as key a play, really, in starting it all for Mexico today as anything. And a full count to Savannah Watley. One of, if not the first deep count that Kendra Lamb's had to deal with as she's mowed down the first 5 she's faced in a strikeout variety. How about 6 for 6? Kendra Lamb off to a great start in this playoff encounter where you must win to keep your tournament hopes alive. Why not come to the ballpark and have fun? The Mexico supporters are dancing. I love this. Let's see that. Smiles. Love to see the youngsters having a great time. That's what this tournament is all about. Canada's in the final. Who will join them? These 2 teams are still alive, as is Triple Crown Colorado, who waits the winner of this one tomorrow at 1 o'clock in a semifinal type game. And Citlali Gutierrez just missed for ball 1. The batter is the designated player, Georgia Hood. She did not participate earlier today in the big 11-0 romp over the Philippines that was over in 4. Georgia in the tournament has a home run. Hits have been somewhat hard for Georgia to come by. She's 3 for 20. She has homered, has a run batted in. 0 for 4 versus Canada last night in another dynamite game. Won by Canada 4-3 over Australia in 2 extra innings. It went to 9. 3 balls and a strike to the 23-year-old from South Adelaide who tore it up at Coastal Carolina collegiately, batting .402. And draws the walk as she races to first base. Australia with a couple of hits and a run home to take a lead early in this one. Sasha Willems is on a roll of her own. 2 for 2 again earlier today. 7 for 16 now in the tournament for the young 22-year-old. Versatile. She catches. She's at third base tonight. A real bright future. There's Australia with some real veteran players like Sitsikronis, Michelle Cox, Stacey McManus, Claire Warwick. But then some of the younger players really making their way. And in many cases, including Sasha, really this year their debut or early with the national team. She's 7 for 17. Has homered, driven in 5 runs. She played in the 2022 World Game, so that would have really been for her debut type season with the national program. Underneath this one, Ray Baedo awaits and makes the easy catch in left. Well, Stacey McManus is one of those veteran players. And she's hard to keep out of the hitting lineup. Started the tournament against Greece, a team that went 0-5. 4 for 4 in that game with a double and 3 runs batted in. 1 for 1 today in their win. 1 for 1 in a pinch hitting role last night against Canada. So in the tournament, Stacey McManus now finds herself at 8 for 13. That's as good an average as there is in the tournament, with enough at-bats to qualify. A ball and a strike from Gutierrez. And Lindsay Lopez, who started the game against Israel, is up and throwing. Gutierrez comes in and misses inside to McManus. This just might be Mexico's pitcher to build around. Citlali Gutierrez. Past Watley, a sharp base hit. And 35-year-old Stacey McManus, who made her debut in the 2012 World Championships, is seeing the ball very well here in Surrey, British Columbia. And Australia in business in this inning for shortstop Madison Scott. 0 for 3 earlier today against the Philippines, 2 for 14 so far. While she's struggled a little bit in the hitting department, that's not really been the case on the defensive side. Like a number of other shortstops, some big arms from over there in this tournament. Think about Jess Oakland, Madison Scott, Solis with a really good throwing arm. Always enjoy that part of the game. Ball and a strike to Scott. Missed on a quality drop from Gutierrez. Not overpowering. I have to say the drop has probably been her best pitch that I've watched this week. And Scott goes through her swing ritual. She wanted to drive that one into left field. Lena Reboledo is very shallow in left. Extremely. A grade A changeup from Gutierrez to get Scott. Strikeout number 1 for Gutierrez of the evening. Sending Madison Scott to the dugout. And it's Michelle Cox who doubled and scored in the bottom of the first. Her third, or make that second hit of the day. And another extra base hit for Michelle. Gutierrez just missed outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Australia with a 1-0 advantage. And Michelle Cox on top of that one fouled it away. We'll play a consolation event final here tomorrow at 10:30. That's for the teams that did not make the playoffs. of the 12 that started. And Gutierrez starting to find her way with a change. That's another beauty. Swung on and missed by Cox. 2-2 to the Australian left fielder tonight. She's moved around in the outfield and delivers a base hit. McManus the wave, and or make that Georgia Hood, who was in to run. And Georgia Hood, Ray Baedo was not deep, and Hood had no chance. So an important play to throw out Georgia Hood. As Cox with a hit, but the score remains 1-0. A 1-0 lead after Georgia Hood was nailed trying to score on a shallow single to left field. Kendra Lamb is a story. She's only faced 6, and she struck all of them out. As she faces first baseman Alicia Campbell. As Campbell tries to make contact, something that her teammates ahead of her in the lineup have not been able to do. She's from Vallejo, California. And 3 for 17 after an 0 for 3 afternoon against Israel. Two balls and no strikes to Alicia Campbell. And there's some contact. Now, it's not like everyone has swung and missed on everything, but she does have 6 strikeouts in succession to open the game. And she'll drag the dirt and make sure their plant foot lands in a good spot. Starts at 43, probably closer to 35 by the time she lets it go. Little turn, face, and here it comes, outside. So some work will be required if she's to continue this consecutive strikeout streak. Alicia Campbell has a good count in her favor. See if she can take advantage of it. Full count. Good rip by Campbell, who did hit 9 home runs collegiately this season. Well, something's got to give. It hasn't yet. 7 in a row. Strikeouts for Kendra Lamb. Now, I've seen some huge strikeout games when you've been watching the game since you were wee young, as I have. Seen even 20-plus strikeout games. It's certainly been a while since I've seen the first 7 in a row be sat down the way Kendra Lamb has. And it's not like she's Carlin Pickens and up in the low 70s. But she has good movement. She throws a heavy ball. Be the best way to describe it. And those are two different things. Heavy and fast. Not the same. And you can hear it when she hits the glove, even though I don't think I've witnessed past 64 tonight. And that one showed at 58. A ball and 2 strikes to catcher Aleandra Casus, who had a good afternoon against Israel. She was 2 for 3 with 2 for 4 with a double, a home run, and 4 RBIs. And did I say 8 strikeouts in a row? 8 in a row. Now, at the University of Louisiana, had a quality college career, but did she ever strike out 8 in a row to start a game? And this is a good lineup. She almost ended the streak by hitting Janelle Miono, and they checked to see if she actually went around. The UCLA outfielder, she was 2 for 3 with a double. She's batting .500. She's 9 for 18 now. And blazing fast from the left side. Willems. The strikeout streak is over. But another 1, 2, 3 inning for Kendra Lamb in Australia in this must-win playoff game to participate on Championship Sunday at the Canada Cup. Right fielder Shannon Keevers in her first game in the lineup since opening day versus Greece. I'm guessing that she was dealing with some type of injury, but has returned tonight in this playoff encounter. Gutierrez remains in the circle. She's given up a run and 4 hits so far through 2 innings. Both these teams went 4-1 in the round robin. Lost last night, won this afternoon. Check swing. Keevers should be out, and now is. She almost tricked Mexico in the infield like it might have been fouled off her foot. She just stopped. Jenna Trim really keyed a 10-run second inning against the Philippines in a playoff win by the count of 11-0 over Philippines. She had a 3-run base-clearing triple and finds herself right back at first base again for this one tonight. Georgia Hood has occupied first base on a lot of situations in the tournament. Gutierrez. Well, I mentioned earlier that I thought the drop might be her best pitch. I've changed my mind. Change up. She's thrown 3 or 4 just like that. Gutierrez from Stamford, Texas, a newcomer to Team Mexico, and they're excited to have her. Beeringer knocked it down, kept it in front, and her arm allows her to still throw out Jenna Trim. Blaze Beeringer is a fine fielding third baseman. And frankly, upon second glance, it wasn't very close. Got her by a full step and maybe a bit. 30-year-old Taylor Sitsikronis. I'm going to say it over and over again. After inadvertently, in my notes, I saw a 30, saw that her birthday was July 3rd, and somehow it got to the team. Somebody mentioned to her that I had said she was 31. Beeringer again on the 30-year-old. Beeringer busy and effective. 1-2-3. Australia goes down that way for the first time in this one, but still leads by 1. Seriously? You know what? No. I could, though. But no, thank you. It's not in my pay grade. And they played small ball to get it going. Another full count, by the way, as Lamb looks down at the wristband. And misses for ball 4. And I wonder if there's about to be a visit, and there is, from the great left-hander. They call him Cheese, Andrew Kirkpatrick, the pitching coach. These young women are lucky to be able to learn from the big, tall left-hander, who up until this year was still making a huge difference on the ISC circuit with the New York Gremlins. I think he's finally retired, I think. And what a nice person as well. So some encouragement for one of his proteges, Kendra Lamb. His high fives around. Rebaedo. She struck out. It's almost pointless to say until the next time around because they all did except Miono. So Garcia will be run for by Alexia. Is that Espinoza or is that Alexia Lopez? Hard to tell from here. Wait to see if, and we will get the change. It's the only thing about our setup that I'm not in love with is that we're not closer to the scorer's table. They're down at field level, and we're up at the top of the first deck. It's a great vantage point. I love it. To call the game, I'd much rather be up here than there, but sometimes you don't hear all the changes. A bunt. Foul. I'm trying to see the number still on the way back. Espinoza and Alexia Lopez look a lot alike. And I'm still having trouble. Can't quite see the number at first base. And the long hair out the back isn't helping my cause. A strike. 2 strikes as Kendra Lamb gets ahead of Lena Rebaedo. And I think it is Espinoza, not Alexia Lopez. And head coach Jorge Arrojo looked upset, like maybe she missed a sign that the steal might have been in play. Let's see if it still is. It isn't. And Rebaedo stays alive. Lena, in the game earlier today against Israel, was 2 for 4 with a run batted in. A solid 7 for 18 now in the tournament. And another 0-2 on the way from Kendra Lamb. And what a difference. All the noise for 3 innings was coming out of one dugout. Not anymore. A 3-run homer by Jillian Solis has completely turned the tide. And Mexico hoping to play against Triple Crown Colorado tomorrow in a semifinal game. Well hit, but fairly routine as the ball gets away from McManus at second. Cox with a good throw in, but almost caused Australia some more difficulty. That's a good throw. So an out has been recorded. And now it's Savannah Watley. And Lamb finds the outside corner to Watley from Oakley, California, Oregon State product. Well, she hit just 167 there this season. Not here. 7 for 17, 3 home runs, 10 runs batted in. A swing and a miss that time. She, like a few others, a little Larissa Franklin-like. She's got a long way to go to be in the Canadian outfielders class, but she can bunt, slap, take one out of here. That kind of player at home plate. She chokes up, showed bunt, was going to slap. That's who Savannah Watley has been this week. And at one point, she'd homered in 3 consecutive games. No home runs at Oregon State. 3 here. Look out. That was high and in tight. Barnaby no longer working, but she was up and throwing. In an elimination game, you don't wait a long time. Again, a little different for the two teams, in my estimation. Australia, like Canada, as much as they want to win this event, this is still very much a tool of preparation to get ready for the big event, which is the World Cup. Nobody can really argue that. But this is a great tool to get yourself ready for that tournament, especially when the competition is like this. 2-2 to Savannah Watley. High. Jade Wall circles under it and comes up throwing. And there's 2 away. Alicia Campbell, as you see how Watley almost had to golf that pitch into the outfield. Hit it just above the plate. Hard to get hurt from down there if you're any pitcher. And Kendra Lamb, who at one time looked like she was going to strike out 21 in a row. She started with 8. Retired 9 straight. Madeline Bejarano came up in this inning, laid a bunt at Sasha Willems at third. She failed to handle it. Then Blaze Beeringer bunted one back to the pitcher. Kendra Lamb a tad casual for the speed of Beeringer. It surprised her a little bit. And what do you know? Jillian Solis came up and kaboom. 3-1. And that's where we sit. Final game of 4. On what was a very warm day here in Surrey. Beautiful now. Campbell, foul. She launched that. Had a ton of distance. If it's fair, there's no question it's a home run, but it was a long way from being fair. 2 balls and a strike to Alicia Campbell. As this has turned into a long half inning. Change up. Willems has a strong throwing arm and displayed it. 2 hits, an error, and a 3-run blast for Jillian Solis. And they'll take the diamond for the first time in front in this playoff encounter on a Saturday night at Softball City.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together,
some of the fans enjoying the action. Two more big games left after tonight, if you will, semifinal, and then a championship game that will involve Canada and either Triple Crown Colorado or the winner of this game. Still very much in contention, but a Jillian Solis three-run homer has dramatically turned the game in Mexico's favor. See how Australia responds. They have one run on 4 hits. They have committed an error. Jade Wall is homered this week. The center fielder off Gutierrez, who works in her 4th straight inning. Wall grounded out and strikes out to begin the bottom of the 4th. Gutierrez, that's her first strikeout of the night. And here's Georgia Hood. Hood walked and then was thrown out at home plate, trying to turn the score into 2-0 by Lena Rebaedo, who was quite shallow. Langhero gave her the wave, and she was thrown out literally by about 7 or 8 feet. Had no chance. 2 balls and no strikes to Hood. And she'd love to get back on track. Has just 3 hits this week. That may have just changed. Off the fence. It did change. As the ball carried well to center, Bejarano back on it. Thought she was going to make the play. Goes off one of the Canada signs out there on the home run fence. She gave it her best shot. And Georgia Hood missed a home run by about 3 feet. She'll have to settle for a 1-out double as she's back in the hit column with her first double of the tournament. And now the tying run in Sasha Willems. She's homered earlier this week. A big one to help Australia avoid what would have been a large upset at the hands of the Saskatchewan 222s, who I can't say enough about the job that they did here this week. The majority of the players, all a product of the twos program run by Dean Holine and Keith McIntosh and Donnie Atkinson and others. And if that didn't help recruit some young players, particularly from Western Canada, I'm not quite sure what would. And they're so proud of the girls in their program. A matter of fact, I was told the other night by both Dean and Donnie, and thanks to Donnie as well for chipping in a couple of times this week, did a really nice job as an analyst, that they gathered about 85 of their players for a big picture the other night. Not just playing in this division, but in the other 3 tournaments that are going on as well as the big women's international event here at the Canada Cup. So be great to see that picture at some point. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out for Sasha Willems. She flew out to Ray Baedo in left in her first at-bat. And enough of that. But catcher Alejandra Casas couldn't quite hang on. Gutierrez seems to be getting, for the most part, stronger, although she just gave up a double off the top of the fence to Hood. Australia's out hitting Mexico 5-2, but trailing by 2. This feels already like an opportunity that Australia must take advantage of. Not necessarily to tie it, but to start chipping away. That'll help you chip away. Here comes Hood. There'll be no throw out at home plate for Georgia this time. Sasha Willems has another run batted in. And Australia back to within 1. It's 3-2. Exactly how you want to respond after you give up runs in the previous inning. As the 22-year-old Sasha Willems continues to impress at the Canada Cup. That's her 6th run batted in. And her 8th hit of this tournament. And a new pitcher. Lindsay Lopez replaces Citlali Gutierrez. And that'll give me a chance to take a quick break and be back. Australia within a run. Lindsay Lopez set to work. She was the starting pitcher and the winner today against Team Israel. She's thrown 14 2/3 innings so far. Has a record officially of 1-1. She didn't get credit for the win. Didn't stay today, I guess, long enough. Only pitched 3 innings this afternoon. Gave up no runs, 1 hit. Struck out 4, walked 1. She has 18 strikeouts in those 14 2/3 innings. And she's on in a key spot, a run in. And Sasha Willems at first is Stacey McManus, has the best average on her team. And delivered another hit her first time up. The 35-year-old Stacey McManus from New South Wales. Changeup towards the gap. And Bejarano went a long way to make that catch. Madeline Bejarano tracks it down. Well hit ball again by McManus. This is a terrific outfield play. She went about 30 steps to get this. Saved a tying run. So file that play away as the game continues. Madison Scott, the shortstop, in the number 9 hole, trying to get on track. She struck out her first time up and has not looked overly comfortable at bat the last 3 games. So Lopez gets some help from Bejarano on a well-hit ball. And she needs no help on the rise ball. It's a strikeout of Madison Scott. Australia able to claw one back. Don't go anywhere. I think we're in for a great finish on this Saturday night in Softball City. The YMCA song never fails to bring some smiles. Fun to watch that family in attendance. Mom and dad and the 3 daughters. And a new pitcher, Kendra Lamb. 1 blemish. A 3-run homer off the bat of Jillian Solis. She struck out 8 straight batters to open the game. Got hurt by an error with the Lamb. 3 runs, and all came on 1 hit. She only gave up 2 hits. "33-year-old veteran left-hander Kaya Parnaby. 8 solid innings against Canada last night. Gave up the 3 runs. She's pitched very well. And has her hands apart asking, where was that? Well, it wasn't a strike, according to the home plate umpire. That you know for sure. Kaya, a longtime fixture. Going back to the late 2000s. Had a quality college career. Not a bad place to attend school, the University of Hawaii. She was a Rainbow. Cassis. But McManus ranges towards first. And sits down catcher Aleandra Cassis for out number 1. So Parnaby comes in and quickly delivers an out. And now it's Janelle Miono from Hacienda Heights, California. And Parnaby throwing well coming out of the pen. Thrown 21 innings. Win, a loss, 9 runs, 20 hits. Struck out 30 and walked 8. Miono Willems shows off the strong arm again, and you have to when you're dealing with Miono, Berenger, and Bejarano. 2 down. Bejarano, on a bunt attempt that Willems had trouble with, started everything in the 4th. And now you have to be ready for it again. Cottonwood, Arizona is her hometown. was at Central Florida for 2 years, and then this past season at Brigham Young University. And she made a quality catch in the last inning to keep the game at 3-2. Went a long way. As Parnaby checks the wristband, and now she delivers. Change up, but out of the zone. Bejarano was struck out, reached on an error, and scored yet another run. Two away in the fifth. And Parnaby thought she had strike three, and so did catcher Taylor Sitsikronis. Rise ball. Upstairs. Inning over. Australia coming to bat. Trailing by 1 in a game that these teams must win to stay in the hunt and play tomorrow. Well, this gentleman isn't jumping around, but I'm sure he's enjoying the action. Hard not to if you like the game. Earlier tonight, Canada in a showdown of two teams with 6-0 records. A 5-run sixth, including a grand slam homer by Port Coquitlam, British Columbia's C.C. Wong, as they beat Triple Crown Colorado 6-3 to advance to tomorrow's championship final. And now Triple Crown Colorado awaits the winner of this game. Michelle Cox. Change up from Lopez. That's arguably her best pitch, and delivers it for a second strike. Michelle is 2 for 2, and she's doubled in the game. Australia out hitting Mexico 6-2, but trailing by a run. One blow can make a difference. We saw that in the Canadian game, and we saw it tonight when Jillian Solis went deep for Mexico in the top half of the fourth inning. Lopez. Second consecutive strikeout for the University of Washington product from Santan Valley, Arizona. Lindsay Lopez. That's her third strikeout since coming into the game. Or make that do. Replaced Gutierrez in the last inning. And here's Shannon Keevers, who's returned for the first time tonight since Game 1 versus Greece. Lopez has been the go-to in the circle, as you might expect. Had a quality season for the Washington Huskies. And Keevers goes down swinging as well. So 3 in a row now in the strikeout department for Lopez. Kendra Lamb, the starting pitcher for Australia, struck out the first 8 Mexican batters that she faced. And this one gets away from Lopez, who's got a big smile on her face. Well, no need to be upset. Just get yourself reset. 3-2. Have to win to keep your tournament hopes alive. A ball and a strike to the batter, first baseman Jenna Trim. Jenna grounded back to the pitcher and to Blaze Behringer. She's 0 for 2. Now 3 for 13 in the tournament is Jenna. She's just 23. And able to lay off the changeup as the count goes full. Jenna Trim played at the University of New Mexico last year. She was here with the Aussie development team, not the Aussie Spirit, which is the national team, in 2022 at the Canada Cup. Made her debut with the Aussie Spirit in a 6-game series back in March against Chinese Taipei. And Chinese Taipei with a better lineup in that event than they brought here to Surrey. One player that could have been here that wasn't was their number 1 pitcher, who was so good for Chinese Taipei back in the 2022 Canada Cup when they actually ended Canada's hopes early on Saturday afternoon in the playoffs. Trim, Behringer, did she hang on? Yes, she did. Well worth another peek. Snow cones for everybody. Tasty if you're Mexico. They continue to lead by a run after 5. Expected another good one, and these two teams have delivered. 3-2. Mexico. They only have 2 hits. They've only really needed 1. Jillian Solis, a 3-run homer back in the top of the 4th inning. That's the difference. As Behringer tries to lay down another bunt base hit, but fouls it. One last day tomorrow, and we'll decide a winner. The home team, Team Canada, will play in the final. And it's been a while since they've been there. They certainly were not there in the last 3 years. that this event has been contested. Well, certainly not the last two. And I guess I have to remember, not as long as you think, because of the 2 years missed due to COVID. Ripped. McManus. Stabbed at it, and it worked. Not necessarily how you draw it up over there, but gets the job done. As takes a hit away from Blaze Beringer. Got to McManus in a hurry. And now it's the difference maker, Jillian Solis. To left, and Michelle Cox settles under it. As Kaya Parnaby has come in and looked very much in command after taking over from 24-year-old Kendra Lamb, who started as well as anybody could start a game. Retired 9 in a row and struck out the first 8. An error. She was a little casual on what turned into a bunt base hit by Beringer and then gave up a home run. Alyssa Garcia back in to hit. 0 for 1. She's walked and struck out. Well, Parnaby, I would think, figures to get the ball opening day at the World Cup. And quite an encounter. Australia will actually open the 8-team event on July 15th against reigning Olympic champion Japan. Now, it's interesting to note, as this is fouled towards the third base dugout, Japan Olympic champions, but they've not won a world title since 2014. The United States won here in this park in 2016. 2018, they won the World Games in 2022. Garcia is going to beat it. Ended up in a spot that Parnaby couldn't get there. The catcher, Sitsa-Cronus, couldn't quite get to it. By the time she did, there was no chance. So a infield single given up to Garcia. Her first hit of the day. She was 0 for 3 against Israel. And now it's Lina Rebaedo's turn. It's the first hit that Kaya Parnaby's given up. Mexico only has 3. And the drop ball, a quality pitch, swung on and missed. 3-2. We're down to the final 4. We know Canada will play in the final. We know Triple Crown Colorado, who lost to Canada tonight, will play in a semifinal. Who will join them? Sitsa-Cronus thought about a snap throw, and Garcia's going to go to second. Well, there's something you don't see very often. So watch this. Taylor fakes the throw, and then on the throw back to the pitcher, had it roll out of her hand. And now there's a runner in scoring position, and it'll be an error charge to the catcher. That's an odd play. And Rebaedo, Parnaby thinks it hit the bat. The umpire has other ideas. As Rebaedo checks the left elbow. Looked like it was elbow on our replay. Australia thought it hit the knob end of the bat. So the two Mexico coaches confer. Well, I clapped. I'm happy. in favor of Mexico. 2 on now. And 2 out. This a must against Savannah Watley, and she has not been an easy out this week and had a good rip at Kaya Parnaby's first pitch. Game on the line. Australia still with a couple of at-bats of their own, but feels like one more could really put them in trouble. But you never know. Watley takes up to even the count. Savannah's struck out and flown out to center field in the game. Now 9 for 21 in the Canada Cup. There's strike 2. Garcia and Rebaedo, the base runners at second and first. Australia looking for an out. And then back to home plate trying to tie it up. This mishandled by Madison Scott. And she's upset at herself. Savannah Watley is going to get credit for a hit. And Mexico has loaded the bases in the 6th when it looked like Australia was going to sail. They retired the first 2 batters. And now Alicia Campbell in a position to maybe deliver a game-ending type blow if she can get a hit. Ball and a strike. Gets encouragement from Jorge Araujo. Parnaby the sign. Needs an out. Paints the outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Alicia Campbell. Well, this is a fairly key at-bat. Thanks a lot, Tips. Gets herself set that way and fights it off. Well, a couple of fine games tonight. And it's what you would expect when you're down to 4 teams in a high-quality tournament like this one. Maybe not quite the field of teams that we've seen in the last couple of years. And the World Cup and the schedule has a lot to do with it. Really difficult sometimes to have teams come when they know that got immediately, very quickly thereafter, make their way to Italy. Budgets, lots of things come into play. Here's the 2-2 with the bases loaded. And Campbell's having a good at-bat. Alicia 0 for 2. 3 for 19 in the tournament. This would be quite a time to deliver your biggest hit of your first Canada Cup tournament. Parnaby being worked. Who's going to win the battle? We'll have to wait at least one more pitch. Exactly the kind of tussle you want in a situation like this. Pitcher and batter not given an inch. Bases loaded. A one-run Mexico lead. Both teams' tournament title hopes on the line. Foul again. Big encouragement. I can hear Savannah Watley through my headset all the way up here. Trying to give her teammate a little juice. Strike three looking. Parnaby paints a corner. See if her team can get her a run. It's 3-2 Mexico going to the bottom of the sixth. Yeah, we see you. We're glad you're having a good time. I know we are. 3-2 Mexico as Kaya Parnaby out of a bases-loaded jam. Lindsay Lopez entered the game after Citlali Gutierrez went 3 1/3. Lopez, so effective so far, has not given up a run or a hit. Struck out 3 and has 18 strikes in the 22 pitches that she's thrown. And always seems to start every batter with a strike. She was 77% in that neighborhood, first pitch strikes, at least going into her appearance earlier today as she started the game against Israel. Now in a closer type role, facing Taylor Tsitsikronis. Change, fouled out of play. Mexico, 3 runs, 4 hits. They've committed no errors. Australia, 2 runs, 6 hits. They've committed 2. One hurt them, one a very odd one they got away with. It was made in the last inning when catcher Taylor Tsitsikronis faked a throw, then on an attempted throw back to the pitcher, had the ball come out of her hand and the base runner went from first to second. Trying to get a hit to get her team started in the bottom of the sixth. Australia led 1-0. Looked like they were going to break it open early. Didn't. Kendra Lamb struck out the first 8 Mexico batters. In the fourth, an error on a bunt. Casual play on another bunt that turned into a base hit and a 3-run homer. And that's where we stand. Australia was able to claw back for 1 in the fourth. We're in the sixth. And Lopez has her 4th strikeout of the night. She has been very sharp in relief of Gutierrez. The rise swung on and missed. And now it's center fielder Jade Wall. Grounded out to third and struck out. And she is more than capable of tying the game with one swing. She homered last night off Sarah Groenwagen in a 4-3 9-inning loss to Canada. Change up. Jade Wall, 7 for 15 in last year's World Cup qualifier in Ireland. It was 4 for 13 for Australia in the 2022 World Games in Birmingham, Alabama. It was the first major event coming out of the Olympics. And the World Games will be staged again next year for both women and men in this sport in China. 2-2 for Jade Wall from Queensland. Made her debut for the national team at this tournament, in fact, in the year 2009. A 2021 Olympian. World Championships. Miono makes it look easy. Didn't carry very well, got it in on the hands. Pop up to right. And Georgia Hood. She doubled her last time up, hit the fence. She was involved in another key play. Australia tried to stretch their lead from 1-2. She got the wave on a single and was thrown out by probably 8 to 10 feet by Lina Rebaedo, and that is a very, very big play as it turns out at this point. If Australia scores to make it 2-0, maybe they get on a roll and it's a different game. Hood. A swing that could have tied it up but didn't. Lopez is so good at getting ahead. This usually can be a spot where she spots a changeup out of the zone. Didn't have to spot that, and it wasn't a change. Mexico, 3 outs away from moving on. And Lindsay Lopez has been very much in command since coming on in relief. She has 5 strikeouts. To the top of the 7th. The difference in the game is a 3-run homer by That's gone. Alejandra Casas tells that ball goodbye. And it could be goodbye to Australia at the Canada Cup. The pride of Paris, California, went down and got it and hit it out. And big hugs all around for Alejandra Casas. The long ball has been Mexico's best friend. 2 of them tonight. And lead by 2. Alejandra Casas. She drove in 4 earlier today with a double and a home run, and she's homered again tonight. So quite a day for the Mexico catcher, who goes to school at St. Mary's University. Bunt again from Miono. She beat it out. So fast is Janelle Miono. Willems on the transfer really wasn't in a position to get very much on it. So Mexico, still no one out. Play small ball and long ball. Small ball set the table for the 3-run homer. There was no table setting. Casas, here's more of their quickness. The throw was excellent. Miono is safe. Taylor Sitzacronis put it right where you had to. And Madison Scott couldn't apply the tag. As Madeline Bejarano with another hit could maybe put it away, and she'll bunt. And it's thrown away. That's the pressure that you put on with speed. They've added a boatload of it since last year, and it's never paid off more than in this game. That was going to be I believe, a base hit, and it scored that way. Miono scores on an error. Might be scored an error all the way around. It's Willems' second error of the game. I think that should be a hit and an error. We'll see if it is. The big news is, though, it's 5-2. A home run by Casas, small ball, an error, and another run. And Mexico looks like they are going to join Triple Crown Colorado in a semifinal tomorrow for the right to play Canada in the championship final. So after a rough opening game against Canada, Mexico lost that 9-1. They've gotten better and better with all the new additions to their team. It's very different than even what was fielded not only here at the Canada Cup 2023, but at the Pan Am Games, where they finished 4th in Santiago, Chile in late October, early November. They're a handful when they use their speed. And they have a lot of it. So they've hit 2 home runs, used their speed, and their pitching has been good too, especially Lopez. And that is whistled past Willems at third. Well, it's always great to have Australia here. come a long way to participate. And then not exactly across the street to get from the Vancouver area to Italy, and that's where they're headed for the World Cup that starts on the 15th. Kaya Parnaby was rolling along nicely herself. She'd only given up the one hit to Savannah Watley before things have kind of turned in this seventh. Two runs to turn 3-2 into 5. And now it's going to be really difficult. But not out of the realm. Jillian Solis put them ahead with a 3-run shot in the top of the 4th. It was the only mistake in 4 innings that Kendra Lamb made. Costly. But if you ask Lang Harrow, they haven't been as opportunistic as they would have liked, and the pressure put on the defense has made a big difference. They've committed 3 errors in the game. 2 of them very costly. One started the 4th inning rally, and one led directly to the 5th run in this inning. Solis again with a big swing, but fouled it. She hit better than 300 this year at the University of Washington, did Jillian Solis. She's become a bit of a fixture for Team Mexico since the Olympics. And Parnaby wanted that one. She's had a lot of difficult work to do here in the last couple of innings, especially this one. And Solis goes down for the second out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Parnaby. She has 3 in the game since replacing Kendra Lamb, who started this game in such impressive fashion. She struck out the first 8 Mexico batters tonight. How things have changed since then. Alyssa Garcia, the designated player. She singled her last time up. 2 large insurance runs. 1, a home run from Alejandra Casas, her second home run of the day. Had one against Israel in their first playoff win on this Saturday. And they're 3 outs away from their second one. So coming into the tournament, many thought that Canada, Triple Crown, Colorado, and Australia would be the 3 teams left on Sunday. Mexico has other ideas. Cox started back and then came in. Inning over. However, a lot of damage done. It's 5-2. A big rally required for Australia to stay alive at the Canada Cup. Lindsay Lopez has had all the answers since coming on in relief of Citlali Gutierrez, who went 3 1/3, was the starter. She gave up 2 runs on 6 hits. Lindsay Lopez, 2 2/3, no runs, no hits, 5 strikeouts, no walks. And now, thanks to 2 seventh-inning runs, has a significant cushion. A 3-run lead. As Australia down to their last 3 outs at the Canada Cup. Do they have something special left? Well, Sasha Willems has been one of the hitting stars in the tournament. She has another hit tonight, her 8th of the tournament. She's 8 for 18, the young 22-year-old. Very versatile tonight at third. Has done a lot of catching here, too. And she will be a fixture in this lineup for a long time. Lopez has really kept them off balance. And every time I look up at the board, there's 2 strikes. There is again. Change up, good swing. Stacey McManus, who's been an excellent hitter in this tournament, is on deck. You need to string a couple together to get a rally going. Solis in time. Took a bit of a funny hop up on her right near the end, but showed good reflexes to stay with it. And you know she has a strong arm to deliver it across the diamond. McManus, 1 for 2. She's flown out and singled. And looks like there will be a pitch hitter, as I expected, for Madison Scott. McManus, that will help. And not surprising that it would be her again with a base hit. Stacey's had a really good tournament. Great player to have. She's come off the bench a lot, but you can't keep her out of the lineup the way she's been hitting late in the tournament and throughout the entire tournament. So she has 2 more hits tonight. And she'll be pitch run for over at first base. So it has to start somewhere if you are Australia. McManus with 9 hits now. She's 9 for 15. It's Pippa Adkins, another youngster. And she has good speed. 37-year-old veteran Claire Warwick, the starting third baseman. That's where she'll be. You can take it to the bank on July 15th when they open the World Cup against Japan. And if somehow they find their way back, I'd expect her there tomorrow against Triple Crown Colorado. Claire Warwick. And for a rare time, Lopez actually did not throw a strike on a first pitch, but came back very quickly with the next one. Ball and a strike to Claire Warwick. Beeringer, great hands. She's made a lot of excellent plays. Watch this ball come up on her. Right at the end, soft hands, strong throw from second baseman Blaze Beringer. And now it's Michelle Cox to keep it alive. Down to the last out. As Lindsay Lopez has only given up the one hit and struck out 5 since replacing Gutierrez. Michelle Cox has 2 hits tonight. She doubled and scored the game's opening run all the way back in the bottom of the first. 5-2. 2 home runs, pivotal in the Mexico lead. You'd like to bring the tying run to home plate, if nothing else. That's the job, more than anything, of Michelle Cox. Mexico and many others thought it was game, set, and match. Not called. 2-2 to the left fielder. Strike 3. Mexico moves on. Australia has its hopes dashed. Jillian Solis, a 3-run homer, the key blow. Alejandra Casas, another, to help provide insurance in the 7th. Well, the Australians are just lovely people to deal with. Lang Harrow, just enjoy every minute I get a chance to chat with him, as I did on a couple of occasions. Thanks so much for making your way once again to the Canada Cup. And good luck to Australia as they participate in the 8-team World Cup in Italy. Mexico, Triple Crown, Colorado tomorrow at 1. To the winner, a date with Canada in the championship final. Good night from Softball City.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a premier member now